welcome to the Entrepreneurial Edge. I'm Michelle Daruwala in conversation with Mr. Jaswinder Ahuja, Corporate VP and Managing Director at Cadence. Mr. Ahuja has been a key player in the role of semiconductors for decades. Thank you so much, Jaswinder, for joining us here today.
Thank you, Michelle. Thank you for having me.
You've been at the helm of leadership at Cadence for decades, and you have witnessed the evolution of technology firsthand. What is some principles and philosophy that has stuck with you as a constant throughout your journey?
See, in the world of semiconductors, right, we are driven by something that's referred to as the Moore's Law. And what Moore's Law says is that for semiconductors, your performance and capacity will double every 2 years, and cost will become half every 2 years, give or take. And so if I look at the world and life through that lens, the rate of change is very fast, very rapid. And so for us to remain relevant and competitive, the one underlying principle is to constantly be in a mode of learning, unlearning, relearning, learning. And I think that's been one of the fundamental tenets that has enabled us to succeed as a company as well as individuals who've had this level of longevity, if you will.
Yeah, I think this also sticks with our Plaksha's motto of reimagining and relearning and reinventing. So I think that is really relevant to us college students.
I think we have to be in that mode lifelong.
Yeah, absolutely. So my next question for you is the semiconductor industry is booming globally, and India is now stepping into something of a semiconductor mission. So what are the key factors that India needs to focus on in order to drive this to success?
Great question. So the India Semiconductor Mission has a very broad charter to look at semiconductors from both the manufacturing side of things as well as the design side of things. We've heard a lot about the investments that are being made on the manufacturing side of things, announcements by Micron and Tata and Keynes and many other companies. But to me, the real untapped potential is on the electronics and semiconductor product design and development stage, right? If you think about the most valuable companies on the planet, two names I'm sure everyone is familiar with, Apple and NVIDIA, right? Apple and NVIDIA do absolutely no manufacturing, right? They conceive of the product that they want to build based on their understanding of where the technology and the market and consumer preferences might be, and then they design it. And classically, if you look at any product from Apple, it'll proudly say designed in California, made in China. Yeah. So I think the companies that conceive of those products and design those products, they are the ones who are able to capture the maximum value in the overall equation. And I think for India to be successful in its aspirations for the semiconductor industry, it is inevitable that we build a vibrant product design and development ecosystem. And we can build on our existing strength. India is home to the largest number of chip designers in the world, courtesy all the global capability centers of multinationals that are present here. But that's not enough. What we need is Indian entrepreneurs, Indian companies conceiving, designing, and developing those products for India and for the world market. And I think it definitely, our industry aligns very well with your Plaksham mission of reimagining or imagining, because our industry, if you think about it, our industry is driven by products that are not necessarily something that the consumer asks for. The creators of those products imagine those products. Think about Apple and think about Steve Jobs when he created the iPod or the iPhone. It's not that everybody was scrambling, asking him to create the iPhone. He imagined it and said, I think there's a market for this product. So we need to have a very vibrant electronics and semiconductor product design and development ecosystem in India for us to be a relevant player and to be successful in achieving our aspirations in the semiconductor space.
I think that makes a lot of sense. And what you truly said about imagining how, when the product, there's a gap, you figure out the product that needs to be achieved. So I think that vibrant product management is really needed. And that leads me to my next question about how, leadership is a very complex and multifaceted thing. So you being a leader at your company, How do you go about being a leader? What are your leadership strategies? How do you go about managing your day, basically?
So the leadership strategy is extremely simple. Number one, hire absolutely the smartest people you can find. Have a diverse group of people that bring complementary strengths to the table. Number two, be clear in your mind about where you want to go, which is the vision and strategy for the organization. Make sure that everybody in the organization understands it, believes in it, and aligns with it. Number three, get the hell out of the way. Because you've hired smart people so that they can do their job.
That's actually great. I hope the leaders that we produce as well follow these three.
I'm sure they will.
Especially the third.
I'm sure they will.
Because I think that's really important.
Yes.
With Cadence being a global leader in electronic design automation, what are some of the most exciting innovations that you've come across?
I'm less excited about what's already being done. Right? I mean, there's a lot of excitement of stuff that's being created. I'm more excited about what lies ahead of us. Yeah. But if I think about let me answer the question differently, right? If I think about the contribution that semiconductors and electronics have made so far to mankind, the answer is very simple. Just look back on the last 20 or 30 years and you'll see that almost all progress that mankind has made, or humankind has made, almost all progress that humans have made have been enabled by semiconductor and electronics technologies. It's the use of those technologies. You look at any vertical, you look at healthcare, you look at automotive, you look at space technology, you look at consumer electronics, it doesn't matter. The most profound impact on our lives has been created by products that have been enabled by semiconductors and electronics. And if you look at the waves that lie ahead of us, right, autonomous systems, be it autonomous cars or drones or whatever else, all of the applications of artificial intelligence and machine learning, again, these are enabled by semiconductor technology. You cannot possibly have, today, at least today, you cannot possibly think of AI, ML, and not think of NVIDIA.
Absolutely. I think, yeah, it's kind of like the unspoken hero, the semiconductors. Like, you don't see it as the starlight of the product, but it is there in
everywhere.
It's everywhere.
It's everywhere, and almost everything is enabled by semiconductors and electronics.
Yeah, so it has its foot in every industry. Even if you don't know about it, it is there.
That's right.
So I think lastly, on a lighter note, if you could go back in time and have a conversation with your younger self, what is some sort of advice that you would give? And especially being a college student, I would love to know what you would tell a college Jaswinder Ahuja.
I'm asked this question a little bit differently sometimes, which is, if you look back on your life and career, do you have any regrets?
Yeah.
It's similar shades, both those questions. And when I respond to that question, I often, as I think about that question, what I often say is that I don't regret anything I've done.
Okay.
So your regrets are typically on acts of omission, not acts of commission. It's the path that you chose not to take, or more importantly, the risks that you did not take. So if I had to go back in time and give myself advice, I would say, do as much as you can. I tried to do as much as I could, but I think I could have done more. Do as much as you can, explore as many paths as you can, and take as much risk as you can. There's only one life to live. Make the most of it.
I think that's wonderful. Thank you so much for having this conversation with me. I'm sure all of you also would have enjoyed listening to this. I especially learned a lot from you, and thank you so much for
Thank you for having me, and wish all of you the very best in your lives and careers.
Thank you so much, sir.